Alright, so here is the intro to Carry On My Wayward Son. Alright, so I'm going to play the intro of the song up until where the lead, the solo number 1 kicks in, okay, because solo number 1 is going to have a section on its own. So for right now, this is the intro up to there. Alright, so let me put my metronome on, because I like to play everything to a metronome so you can see how to fit your phrasing in and all that stuff. So here's roughly the BPM of the song. Okay, so that is the intro, and then the once the solo is going on, the rhythm that the solo is being played over is the same, the first riff. So the solo is being played over that. Okay, so the way this is played is, remember, if you're on YouTube, you don't have the tabs on the screen, and this isn't the full version of the video. But the full version does have the tabs and everything else that I refer to in this video, okay? So, if you're on YouTube, just kind of follow along. So basically what you're doing here is you're going 5-3-5 on the open E, then you're going to the 3 on the A string, and then you do the same thing, but you land on the 5 on the A string. Okay, so you have... Alright, and then you're sliding up to the 7 on the A string, 5 on the D string, and then 7, 5 on the A to an 8 on the E. Okay, and then it ends by going 5 on the A to the 3 on the E, then 5 on the A, then 2 on the E. Okay, so that's how that part's played. Alright, so the next part is, it goes right to the open E power chord. Alright, and then you come up and you do a 12-12 on the B and the G string. Alright, so that's 5-7 on the E, to 5 on the A, to 5 on the D, then a hammer on from 5 to 7 on the A. And the second time it does 14 to the 12. And again, you're 14 on both the B and the G string. So that's... right back into the... Alright, so my timing's a little weird, but that's why I like to play it with the metronome, so you can actually hear the timing, how it's supposed to sound. Alright, so that's the intro of the song. If you're watching from the website, just refer to the tabs. If you're on YouTube, just you can rewind as many times as necessary. Alright, so now we're going to get on to the first solo of the song. Alright, so here's the first solo of this song. This is the solo that comes right after the part we just went over, right in the intro of the song. Alright, so this solo, I wouldn't say it's incredibly difficult, but the hardest part about it is trying to get the phrasing down, as usually is the case with learning solos. So I'm going to break it down for you piece by piece, phrase by phrase. I'm going to play it over the looped rhythm with the metronome, and I'm also going to play it at a slower speed, okay? Because it's a lot easier to figure out these solos and how exactly they're phrased when they're taught at a slower speed. So for for the purposes of YouTube, I don't include the tabs in my YouTube videos, but I am going to include the slow solo, so you can at least kind of see how the phrasing goes. The full version is also going to include the tabs and an even slower version. So I'm going to demonstrate this at a speed of probably about 100 BPM, which is this. So that's the slowest speed I'm going to teach on YouTube. I'm going to teach it at about 80 as well on the website, along with the tabs. So the full versions, you always get more with the full versions of the lessons, okay? So with that said, let's get on to the solo. The solo, first of all, is played over the rhythm that we just went over. Okay, so it does that, and then it goes back into... It goes back into that, and then it ends with a little 3-part harmony, which we'll get to in the next section. But with that said, the solo starts out by going... Okay, so that is, you're hitting the D and the G string, 5th fret, and then you're bending on the 7th fret of the G string, coming down to the 5th fret of the G string, and then you're doing a blues run right down the A minor blues scale. Ending it on the 5th fret of the A string. So you have... Alright, and then it does a series of these pull-offs. 2nd fret, starts on the 2nd fret of the G string, and then does 5-2 open until it slides up to the 17th fret, okay? It's actually harder to do it with my 3rd and 1st, but I'll do it with my pinky first. Okay, so I think there's 5 or 6 total, but it's more important to just get the feel of it, okay? So let me play up to there so far over the loop rhythm. Okay, so you want to get that timing down. So you're landing on that 17th fret. At the 17th fret is the start of the next 4 beats, okay? So. Okay, so you want to get that timing down. Alright, so that's that so far. And then it goes into a pentatonic lick. Blues, pentatonic, same sort of thing, but in the 15th to the, the 17th to the 20th fret area, still the A minor scale, A minor blues. Alright, so it's a lot easier to phrase it right if I play it over the rhythm again, so let me do that. So you see how that doesn't start right away? It starts kind of on the 2. Alright, so it's... One more time, I'll play it over the rhythm. Alright, so notice where that starts. Okay? Now, what I'm playing there is... Okay, so it's a lot easier to just simply just follow the tabs. If you're watching this from the website, the tabs are right there on the screen. Just getting the phrasing down with this thing is going to be the most trickiest thing, but that's the purpose of doing the slow demonstrations. So let me get that up to there. Okay, so that's how that fits in there. Now it ends with another pentatonic lick in this area, 5th to the 8th fret region, but the timing now starts on the 4. So if you're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, it starts right on the 4, and it's all 16th notes. Alright, so right after you do this, alright, so again, getting the timing right is it's probably going to be the most difficult thing. So let me play it to there now. Alright, first let me show you the riff actually. So it's very similar to the last one. You're bending on the 7th fret. 7, 5, 5. So you see how that riff kind of comes in a little sooner than you would expect it to. Alright, so one more time. So just pay attention to how these phrases are starting and how they're ending, and just how to fit them in over the 4 beat. Alright, so again, if you're watching this from my website, tabs are on the screen, and I'm also going to play a slower version of it next, so you can really try and get this phrasing down. Alright, if you're watching this from YouTube, you can still rewind as many times as necessary in order to get this down. Alright, so the solo ends by, you know, the rhythm's going back to the... So that's what the rhythm's doing. Now every time one of these things is occurring, the lead is bending up on the 22nd fret. I can never get good bends on my guitar on this 22nd fret. It always tends to die out on me, you know? So, but that's what it's doing, it's going. Alright, and then it goes into a 3-part harmony, and I'll show you that in the very next section. Or actually, I'm going to play the whole solo at a slower speed, and then I'll show you the 3-part harmony in the following section, okay? So let me just do the whole thing up till there at this speed. Into the 3-part harmony. Alright, so that's at about 100 BPM. Let me play the solo at about 80, okay, or maybe 90, just slower so you can try and get the phrasing down. All right, so here's the 3-part harmony, and this occurs right after the first solo, and it also happens at the very, very end of the song. Okay, so this closes out the song. All right, so basically all it is, it's 3 guitars harmonizing with one another, and it comes right after. All right, and then it goes right into. Okay, so that's the 1 guitar part, starting on 5th fret of the G string, going to the 7th fret of the D, back to the 5th of the G, and then 7th of the G, 5th of the G, 7, 9. Okay, and there's a 2nd guitar part over top of that that does this. Okay, so what he's doing is he's doing 5 on the B and then 5 on the G, and 5 on the G again, and then 8 on the B, then 5 on the B, then 8, then 10. So 1 guitar doing, another guitar doing, and those 2 together sound. Alright, so let me record the 2nd guitar part, then I'll do the 3rd guitar part over top of that. Okay, so the 3rd guitar part is going 5 on the high E, and then 5 on the B, and then 5 on the high E again, 7 on the high E, 5 on the high E, 7, 8. Okay, so the 3rd part in there. Okay, so that's the 3-part guitar harmony, alright? Next we get into the verses and into the breakdown, alright? Alright, so here's the verse and the chorus of the song. Alright, so now the verse and the chorus of the song, they don't really have much guitar in it. I don't even think there's any guitar in it. It's pretty much all just piano. But I'll show you the chords anyway, in case you're playing the song live and you just want to kind of strum along, or in case you're playing like a more metal version of it or something like that, you can kind of add some, you can add some power chords, some chunky power chords to it or whatever. But anyway, the chords that's being played on the piano is, it starts out with an A minor, to a G major, to an F major, back to a G major. So the rhythm's kind of like. And the second half of the verse is the same type of thing, only it's a D minor, to a C major, to a B flat major. Okay, so this one goes, you can play the D minor here too. Alright, and then it ends on the G. And then it starts over again. So the whole verse would sound something like this. Pretty straightforward. And then when he's singing "Carry On My Wayward Son," which is, I guess, the chorus of the song, that's I guess you could kick on distortion here if you wanted to, or you can keep playing clean chords, whatever. It's an A power chord going up to the C power chord. You do the A power chord to a quick B power chord to a C power chord. To a G power chord, to an F power chord. Okay, if you wanted to play full chords, it would be an A minor, to a C major, to a G major, to to an F major. If you just wanted to do power chords, majors or minors don't matter. So it's and it holds in the F extra long where it says, "Don't you cry no more." All right. So it does the verse and the chorus, and then it does another verse, and then another chorus, and then it goes into the breakdown, okay, which is the next section. All right, so that's pretty straightforward. One way that I've seen this played before, and if I were to play the song live during the verses, instead of doing the clean chords like I was showing you, I would actually probably play power chords, and I would play something like this. Okay, so that's how I would play it if I were to be playing this with a band while the piano is playing, okay? That's just me. It's not how the actual song goes, but those are the chords, okay? So with that said, on to the breakdown section. Okay, so here's the breakdown of the song, alright? So we just went through the verse, and then the chorus where he's singing Carry On My Wayward Son, doing the "Don't you cry no more." As soon as he says "Don't you cry no more," it kicks into the to this breakdown, which we're about to play. So first, let me play it with the metronome here, and then you can just kind of watch how I do it, and then I'll break it down phrase by phrase. So it's alright, so I kind of played a lot there, but basically it's just kind of two parts, and then the solo comes in over the second part, alright? So it starts out by going, okay, so that's all pentatonic stuff, alright? So it starts on the open A string. I think I might have it tabbed out where I hit the A down here on the E string, okay, the 5th fret E string. But it's harder to play this riff that way because you have to do more movement with your hand as opposed to, okay, so it's a lot easier to hit the open A and then do the, alright, so this is all just pentatonic stuff, right? 7-5 on the D, 7-5 on the A, 8-5 on the E. Alright, and then you're going 3 on the E, 5 on the E, 5 on the A, 3 on the E, or 3 on the A. So every other time around it just goes 3, 5, 5 on the D, or it's the note D, but it's 5 on the A string. Alright, and then it kicks in with these, it's all in the upbeat, so you're doing open, then 7th fret of the A string, and then 5 on the A string, 4 on the A string, and then 7 on the E, 5 on the E, 3 on the E, and then you're doing 5 on the A, then 5 on the D. But listen to the rhythm here. Okay, so that when you're doing that 5 and 5, you're not on the upbeat every time anymore. So you're going. Alright, and then the second time around, it goes open, 7, 5, 4, slide to the 7 on the E, 5 on the A, 2, 3, 4 on the E, and then the 3 on the A. Alright, and then it goes into the solo section, which is alright, so it's you're bending on the 15 high E, then you release it, 15, 14, 12. Okay, so 15, 12, 15. Then 14, 12, 14. Alright, and then you do a double hit on the 14. Alright, and then you do a 14 to a 12, 13 hammer. 14 on the D, 12, 13 hammer on the G, then back to the 14 on the D. Alright, and then after you do it the second time, you do 14, 13, 12 on the D, then 14, 13, 12 on the A. On that 12, 12 on the G and B. Okay, so it's a lot easier to simply just play this over the looper to see how it all fits together. Alright, so you have so that's how that all goes, alright? I think it's easy enough where I don't have to play it at a slower speed, okay? So just follow the phrasing, follow the timing, follow the tabs. I tried to break it down the best I could for you. So that's the breakdown, alright? So now we get into the bridge of the song. Alright, so here's the bridge section of the song. Alright, so we just got done playing the breakdown. Alright, and right out of the breakdown, it goes right back into the intro of the song. Okay? So I showed you that in the last section. Now it does the intro, and then it does this little bridge, which I'm about to show you, and then it goes right into the chorus again. Alright? So this little bridge connector section this is the only time in the song that this part is played. Alright, so it's pretty simple, but there's one thing to pay attention to is the timing of it, okay? All it is it's just doing an A power chord to a G power chord to an F power chord, but the G power chord doesn't start until the 4 beat, so it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Okay, so pay attention to that. I'm going to play this with the metronome. I'm going to start from the intro riff, which is what comes right out of the breakdown, into this little bridge section. So just pay attention to the timing and how it fits. Okay, so from the intro riff. The chorus again, which we went over 2 sections ago. Alright, so you already know the intro riff. I showed you that in the beginning. This part is pretty simple. It just has a couple little fills in there, but as you saw how it fits over the metronome, it goes. Okay, so it's 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay, so that's the timing of it. So it's just doing an A power chord to a G power chord to an F power chord, and then it does this little fill. It goes open on the E, open on the E, first fret on the E, third fret on the E, open on the A, then second fret of the A. Okay, with the metronome. Okay, so after it does that twice, it now comes up to the D power chord. Okay, and these are just a series of power chords, but played into the individual strings of the chord. Okay, so exactly as the tabs say. If you're watching this from the website, exactly what the tabs are showing on the screen. Alright, so it's okay, and then once it gets down to the B flat, it goes. It's the same riff we just did, except it's just a 1 string higher now. We previously did on the E, now we're just starting on the A. Open 1, 3 on the A, open on the D, 2 on the D. And the second time around it goes to the G power chord. Okay, so the whole thing is so after the G, it goes right back into the chorus. Okay, which we already went over. All right, so that's pretty much it for the breakdown. All right, and not the breakdown, the bridge. I guess you can call it the bridge. So that's pretty much it for the bridge. As I said, I guess the trickiest part of the whole thing is just getting that timing down. You know, to making sure you're starting on the 4 beat when you go to that G power chord, okay? Other than that, pretty straightforward with some power chords and little fills. Alright, so now we get on to the last 2 solos of the song, and then that's it. Alright, so we just got done doing the bridge section. So the bridge connects you from the intro riff to the chorus, And then right after the chorus, it goes back into the okay, so it goes back into that, which you already know because that's part of the intro of the song as well. So immediately after that, it then goes into solo number 3, followed by solo number 4 shortly after, okay? So that's what we're doing now, solo 3. Now before I show you solo 3, let me first show you the rhythm that it's over. So the rhythm is... Okay, so you're basically right here on the second fret of the E string, and you're kind of just doing F sharp minor pentatonic stuff. Okay, so 2 on the E string, 4, 2 on the D, and then 4 on the A. Okay, and then it goes to the A power chord, then to the E power chord. Okay, so this comes right out of so solo 3 actually kind of ends with this again. Okay, so and then it goes into solo 4, but that's the rhythm for solo 3 and 4. Okay, so it's in the key of F sharp minor now. All right, and you know, if you're watching this from my website, simply do exactly as the tabs say. I'm going to work you through phrase by phrase, and then for the full version, which is only available on the website as well, I'm going to also play a slower version of this solo so you can really get your phrasing down. Alright, so this solo starts out by going a bend on the 17th fret of the B string. Okay, and it holds that for a little bit. Okay, so it goes... played over the rhythm. Okay, so you have that so far, and then it goes. Alright, so this is all pentatonic stuff right here, and every single pull off and bend that I do is written very accurately in the tabs. I checked multiple times, okay, so it's. Okay, it's a lot easier to play over the rhythm. Alright, one more time. Alright, now it holds that 17th fret bend on the high E for a little bit, and then it comes up to the 19th fret, and then does another full step bend up here. Alright, so it's... does the 19th fret bend, it goes, so it's 14, 17, 14. Alright, so far we have. Alright, and this ends by, or not ends, but the next part is 14 on the E, 17 on the B, 14 on the B. And then it goes 14 on the E, 17 on the B, 14 on the G, and then 16 on the D. So, it does that, it comes down here and starts playing in this pentatonic area. Still the F sharp minor pentatonic box, but only you're down on the 2nd fret, 2nd to 5th fret area. Okay? And it goes. So slide up to the 4th fret of the D string, then to the 2nd fret of the G string, bend on the 4th fret of the G string, release that bend. Alright, and then it does this bluesy kind of thing that's playing on kind of the A major chord. You slide up to the 6th fret of the G string, and you're also hitting the 5th fret of the B string. So, alright, and now it ends by going. Okay, 6, 4, 2 on the G, open on the E. So this whole thing is. Okay, and the reason it ends on that is because the end of the solo ends with the. Okay, so it goes back into that. The solo, before the solo it has that, and then after the solo it has that, okay? So, this whole solo played up to speed sounds like this. Right back into the. Okay, so I'm going to play the solo only for those who are viewing it from the website. You're gonna, I'm going to play a much slower version, and of course the tabs are going to be on the screen as you're going through the solo. Okay, but that is the solo phrase by phrase. I think that's up to album speed. I'm not exactly sure, but that's the solo number 3. Okay, so now to the slow demo. Alright, so this is the 4th and final solo of this song. This is also the last part of this lesson, because after this, it just kind of ends with that 3-part harmony that we already went over, and then it's the end of the song. Alright, so right after solo number 3, it goes right back into. It goes right back into that stuff, and then it goes right back into the same rhythm right afterwards. Okay, so solo number 4 is played over the same rhythm that solo 3 was just played over, which is. Okay, I already went over that in the last section. Alright, so the way this solo is done, again, same key, F sharp minor. It starts off with a bend on the 4th fret of the G string. So it's a bend and then a bend release. Okay. Alright, so right there, 4 and 2 on the G string. And then it does a series of hammer pulls on the 2 and 5, 2nd and 5th fret of the B string. Alright, now I didn't write out every single hammer that's in the tab, just because that would take up too much space, but simply just listen to how it fits over the rhythm. So it goes like this. Okay, so see how it's going to be. I don't know exactly how many times it is. It's just a matter of just feeling it. Okay, so let me try that one more time. All right, so again, for the people watching from the website, I'm gonna have a slow version of this solo played right afterwards. So if you want, you can count them. but it's a lot easier to just kind of feel how it fits in with the with the metronome. That's the best way to do this. Okay, so it's just a bunch of. Okay, so I didn't write them all out in the tabs, but anyway, after it does that, it goes. Alright, so it's a little bend on the 4, bend and release, and then 2, 4, and then 4 on the D, and then a 2, and then a bend of the 2. Alright, so far we have. Alright. So, I guess the phrasing is kind of the trickiest part of this whole thing. Other than that, it's only a couple of notes played in the pentatonic area, so nothing too crazy. It's just the phrasing that might take a little bit of time to get down, but watching the slower version might help you out with that, okay? And then it comes up here to the F sharp minor pentatonic area. We were just down in the F sharp pentatonic minor area. Now we're up in this area, okay? 14th to 17th fret, okay? And it bends. It does one of these, your first finger's on the 14th fret of the B string and your third finger's on the 16th fret of the G string, but you just bend the G string. Okay, and when you bend that note of just the G string, it achieves the same note of that of the 14th of the B. So, okay, so that the bending up is what causes that tension sound. All right, so you do that. All right, so you do a little bend. You grab the 17 with your pinky, and then you do a bend release. Okay. And then you do a release of the 16. Okay. It's on the G string. And then you bend on the 17th fret of the high E. Then release it. And then you do 14, 17, 14 on the E and B. And then the second time is 14, 17, 17. And then 14 of the G. So. Alright, so this whole part right here. Alright, a little slower. And that's the end of the solo. After the solo, it goes back into the same 3-part harmony that we already did in the beginning. So, this whole solo, played to speed, is... Okay, and it ends with that 3-part harmony. Alright, so that's the solo played up to speed. Now, I'm going to play it slower, only for the people watching it from the website will get to see that. If you were watching this from YouTube, thank you very much for sticking through this. This was a long lesson. Thanks for watching. If you're on the website, stay tuned for the slow demo. Alright, thank you.